Griner's defense team says it plans to appeal the court's decision, calling it absolutely unreasonable. Joining us now is the founder and president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton. Also, of course, the host of Politics Nation right here on MSNBC, who has been so instrumental helping Griner's wife and family push for her release and get through this terrible, terrible crisis. Reverend Al, what's your reaction to the sentence and just watching the court yesterday and watching her with such dignity dealing with it, listening to the judge, totally ignoring the defense's case?
It was not surprising, but still startling. This is an absolute moral outrage for her to be given just about the maximum sentence of 10 years, 9.5 years, for something that wouldn't even been a misdemeanor in the United States. And let's remember now, we're talking about she had a prescription that was presented to this court where she had cannabis use for pain and for injuries due to her basketball playing. And even then it was only the vapor. So this clearly is Russia at its worst. We hope, though, that in these negotiations, it was good the president responded immediately. It was good Secretary Blinken did. We hope that in these negotiations it will lead to her immediate release. We still have a delegation that I put together asking to go and see her and give her a clergy visit, because looking at her yesterday in that cage, she does not know the millions of people supporting her around the world. She's there with little information. Her wife, Sherelle, tells me about 99% of the people in the prison speak Russian. She doesn't speak the language, and we want to be of comfort to her. But hopefully those prayers can be given back in the United States, and we can have an expedited negotiation. Whether it is an exchange or not, we need to see Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan back in the United States at home.
Rev, do you think you're going to be going soon? Do you have approvals to go? And who would be going with you?
I would think that as far as we can go in terms of making moral appeals, in terms of many of the activist groups have come forward. You saw her team stand up last night. We must keep this visible. We cannot let this be forgotten.
And, how is the family doing? How is Sherelle doing, if you can share?
Sherelle is studying for the bar, and I think it was encouraging when they showed the pictures of her family, and she say, "I love my family." She was showing the pictures in that cage yesterday at sentencing. I've talked to her father a couple of times, and her father's very concerned, monitoring everything, and they're trying to continue to be prayerful and hope that everything works out. Clearly, no one likes the situation, but they do not want to add injury. We're trying to get her home. The objective is not to make a political position, as people like me do. The objective of the family is get her home safe and sound.
Yeah, I think my impression is that we're trying to dial things down because Russia is making such a big fuss over the so-called megaphone and saying that these negotiations have to be private. So let's test their sincerity and see if they're really willing to make a deal. We know they want this guy, Victor Bout, back really badly. So if they're willing to get serious, this is the time to do it, right? We also have to know.
And I think this is the time to get serious if you're going to be serious. And they've been saying for some time they want this guy. Well, let's see how serious they are about their own Russian citizens, since this administration has put that on the table. So I think that we will see how serious they are. And thankfully, we finally see, at least out front, the seriousness of this government by what the president has done once Brittney wrote him and Sherelle made that appeal. So I think both governments will see how serious they are. Let's remember that this arms deal has already done a certain amount of years. He only has a certain amount left. We're talking about Whelan's been in there from some time, and Brittney would face 9.5 years. This is in no way makes sense to anyone. So let's get beyond. My prayer is, Andrea, that athletics can be above global politics, above one nation against another. We should appreciate that. Brittney played 7 years for Russians, and the Russian public began to love her. You saw at her trial, fellow players from the Russian team testified for her, to her character, a former coach. So this is not one nation against another when it comes to Brittany, when it comes to Wailing. It's about doing the right thing and letting the global politics play out, but not with using people in a way that would not be humane and moral.